Okay, so welcome everyone. Also from my side, my name is Mauricio Prinslao, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Cloudwoods.net. And together with CloudBerry Lab, we are once again co-hosting this webinar. But in this case, we are going to tackle a topic that we haven't talked about so much before. We've dived in this topic here and there, but today's topic is going to be specifically about how you can back up and disaster proof your business the right way. And today, Eugene he is with us. He is the solutions architect for Cloudberry Lab. So he really knows all about backup, and especially he knows about the use of cloud storage in combination with Cloudberry Lab software to really make sure your data is secure. So if you haven't already thought about backup for your business, now is the right time, and this is the webinar for you, because we are going to talk a little bit about why you actually need a backup, what is the difference between a backup for personal use, and why businesses may need other security measures to really hone in on the best strategy and really make sure that their data is safe. And of course, we are going to talk about the benefits and maybe some of the drawbacks of cloud-based storage, and how Cloudberry Lab or Cloudberry software can actually help you as a business owner to really make sure you never lose any of those important files that keeps your business running, your contracts, your client files, or any files that are really valuable to your business. That being said, as this is like an open webinar, we really appreciate your questions. So whenever there's something unclear, or whenever you have a question for us, for me, or for Eugene, please do post those questions in the questions box. And whenever there's some time, we are going to go over those questions and really hone in to your understanding, so that you can make sure you get the most out of this webinar. And without further ado, I would say I give the word to Eugene, and I think we're going to start with a little poll to get the audience to know.
Exactly. Yeah. So thank you very much, Mauricio, for a quick introduction. That's really a great one. And as you mentioned, yeah, we're going to launch a few polls just to get understanding better the audience. And the first poll is going to be, do you use cloud storage for your data and backups? So you're going to see a poll itself, and you will be able to provide an answer to that poll. Okay, so pretty good results. Okay, and I'm ready to close the poll and show results. As you can see, we have 63% yes, we use cloud storage for data and backups, and 25% is considering to use cloud storage for backups and data, which is great. So you're in the right place, and you're going to learn something new today with regard to storage and how exactly you can use it for your data and for backups. And the other one that we have is, do you use cloud storage for your data and backups? What are your backup challenges today? So that's the other poll. And just to explain a little bit what we mean by that, so how exactly do you use, what exactly do you need from the backup perspective? Do you need to back up your personal data? Do you need to back up your business data? Or are you looking for a backup solution to offer services to someone else? Like you act like a service provider, and you want to offer services. So that's the third reply.
Yeah, what was interesting is that there were also people, like 13%, I believe, that haven't used the cloud at all. So that's also interesting, and obviously it would be interesting to know if anybody would who answered that, maybe put something in the comment section what they're using currently for backup. Is it just a local backup? Is it a sort of a NAS storage or a server that they have in their company? Obviously, that would be interesting to know as well.
Yep. Okay, so we're ready to close the poll. Let's do that. And let's share results. So that's the picture that we can see today. 40% people are looking for a backup solution to offer services to someone else, and business and personal backup are equal 30%. Excellent. So thank you very much for taking part in that survey. That's really helpful for us. And based on those results, we're going to run our presentation. And let's begin. So as Mauricio mentioned, I work at Cloudberry, and most of the time I spent around technical, areas like questions. I do help customers to realize the cloud solutions that they may select or they use today, and how exactly they can use our products and how our products fit together with cloud storages. And yeah, so just really quick, so we're gonna go through the following section. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Cloudberry, what we do today, what kind of products we offer, and how exactly we help people to realize all benefits of cloud services and cloud solutions. We're gonna dive into backup offerings that we have today. We're going to talk about restore capabilities, and I'll show you what service we have available today for service providers, because like the major part of you mentioned that you're looking for a solution to offer services to someone else. So this is what we offer our special service, which is called MBS. So you'll be get all the details just in a few minutes. And there will be a demo, so you'll be able to see, the product itself, the service, the console, and how they act all together, and how they fit to the infrastructure that you have, and how you can actually link cloud storages today. So a little bit about Cloudberry. We are here since 2011. This is actually from the MBS perspective, or managed backup solution perspective. So that's the service that we offer for managed providers, for service providers, which helps them to offer backup services for third party, like for other companies, or even for personal needs. Before that, we used to make one of our first product, which was focused on file management. So when we talk about cloud storage, so we actually talk about certain endpoint in the cloud, and you can actually use some native tools for getting access to that cloud and for uploading files to, for example, to S3, right? So if you talk about Amazon, there is S3 service, and if you want to manage files in S3, you just need to go to Amazon console, and then in web browser you actually can upload or download files back and forth, and that's fine, but it's not really convenient, and people started to look for something more comfortable, like something more native for the operating system. And almost 10 years ago, we created our first product. So it is CloudBerry Explorer. So CloudBerry Explorer is actually a file manager for Amazon object storage, for Amazon S3 and Glacier. And it's not only for Amazon, it's available for different storage providers and technologies. But back in the past, like 10 years ago, we started with Amazon. So we were the first software vendor offering a file management tool for Windows operating system, which was able to attach object storage to the operating system, and user can start to upload and download files back and forth. So a little bit later, like in 2011, we started to offer managed services with our MBS offerings, and I'll talk in more details a little bit later today. Today, from the portfolio perspective, we do have multiple tools available. So we are more concentrated on the data management and data backup and disaster recovery offerings today. So a little bit about the cloud backup. What we have from the cloud backup perspective. So first of all, like I said, it supports a lot of storage providers. So either you use Amazon S3 or Glacier, or you go with Microsoft and you use the Microsoft Azure technology and their different offerings from the storage perspective, or you go to Google Cloud Storage or Google Drive. That's not a problem for us. I mean, from the backup perspective, you can use those storages as your backup targets, as your backup destinations. So that's actually a great alternative, because you don't have to care about the you have, I mean, all the failures that may happen to your personal data storages. Like, for example, instead of cloud storage, you can use something locally. You can locally back up to your NAS box or to some kind of network share. And this is what we all used to make in the past. And with all these cloud technologies and all these cloud storages offerings, we actually started to consider, okay, what if we can use those cloud facilities as our backup destination.
Yeah, let me chime in. Let me chime in here real quick, just as a side note, because I really want to make sure that everybody understands this and what the beauty of the solution is. So, if you use a software solution like Cloudberry Backup, the beauty is that you can be with your business completely cloud agnostic, meaning you can really choose several cloud storage solutions to back up the same set or different sets of data, so that even if, for example, Amazon S3 is going down for whatever reason, and this has happened before, you might also have set up a backup for Google Drive, and then you can rely on that backup for a quick restoration if that is necessary. And that is also possible so that even people with smaller backup needs, they can use Google Drive. So there you don't have to be like a business with terabytes of data. It starts really from only a couple of gigabytes or a couple of 100 megabytes of important data to back up to actually an infinite amount of files. And Cloudberry Lab is cloud storage agnostic, so you do not provide storage per se, but you offer sort of like easy access gateways to those different cloud storage providers.
Yep, agree. So again, so right here in that slide, you can see just part of the storage providers that we do support today. So any of the storage provider can be selected, can be configured accordingly, and you can use the space of that storage provider as a backup destination for your data. And so from the backup perspective, I mean, from the capabilities perspective, Cloudberry offers various agents available for different operating systems, like can be Microsoft Windows operating system, it can be Linux, it can be Mac. So we actually talk about the agent that sits inside the operating system. It's actually a piece of software that you install into your computer. You configure accordingly. You set up your cloud storage. You link that cloud storage to your backup agent, and then you set up your backup plans. That's it, really. All the data that you gather from your computer goes off to the cloud, and it can be compressed, can be encrypted, and all these kind of technologies that we can apply on top for certain backup files. Again, we have actually a few examples, like people coming to us and saying, like, hey, we don't really want to use any of these public offerings. We actually want to turn our own storage facilities into cloud. We have plenty of such customers, and this is all possible because you have a lot of technologies that are compatible with S3 stack, for example, or OpenStack technology. So you can bring that piece of software to your own facilities, install that kind of that appliance, or install that service to your compute instances, and then you can turn your NAS boxes, your network shares, into a fleet of storages that you can use as a backup destination as well. Again, it's the approach or strategy that we call bring your own storage into Cloudberry and use that own storage as destination for your personal data, or offer that piece of storage or that space for your consumers, for your customers. It's the case, exactly the case when we talk about companies like service providers that are offering backup services for other companies. And again, you can reuse your storage, you can reuse the free space of your storages of your facilities by using all these I mentioned, like S3 or OpenStack, and you can turn the facilities into personal cloud-based storages for accepting backups. And this is beauty actually of Cloudberry. Yeah, let's move on and let's talk a little bit about the backup features that we have available today. So it depends on the operating system. You may select one of the certain agent that we offer today. Again, I mentioned Windows, Mac, and Linux, so like pretty entire list of available and commonly used operating systems today. So the Windows agent has more capabilities since we started to develop that a little bit longer, a little bit more years comparing to Linux and Mac. So for Windows, we do have, for example, image-based backup, where you can say, okay, so the C drive should be backed up, the D drive should be backed up, so all my volumes that I have under my computer should be backed up and placed somewhere in a cloud. So this is all done by leveraging technologies like Microsoft VSS, which is the guarantee for consistency, because it's done over the volume snapshot. So for example, if we have anything in use, like any files are in use, or we have application that does something at the same time, which is obviously also in use. And quick example, we have operating system and it runs Microsoft SQL underneath. So when we back up a computer with Microsoft SQL, we certainly need to stick with VSS technology, because it guarantees consistency of our SQL data, of our data of database and transaction logs. And the same picture can be applied to the Exchange case. So when we run and we need to back up Exchange data, which is our mail server, so we need to leverage Microsoft VSS. I mean, in all cases, when we back up a computer on volume level, we need to stick with that technology. And Cloudberry just reuses, like leverages that technology in the backup cases. So you may want to reduce the backup size. That's why we have compression. You may want to encrypt the data, so you don't really want someone else looking into your files. So we use the advanced encryption standard, which is 256, one of the highest level of the encryption technology in the industry. So we leverage that since the very beginning of the product development. And all that you can do in the product is, the interface of the product is quite intuitive, and you can just set up your backup plans, pick up the files that you want to back up, and send that off to your cloud or to the public cloud. You can set up different schedules. You can do that with different strategies, like it can be a full backup first time, and then you can stick with incremental by backing up only changes, which again is designed for making your backup strategy more efficient, because we do not keep data twice. You have only first full backup, and then all sequential backups depend on your full, so they actually represent only changes since the last backup. And all these kind of things we have in a backup, even for file level backup or for image-based backup technologies. So we have it in a product. So talking a little bit about Linux and Mac. So today we offer file level backup. So what we can do is back up your data in your Linux or Mac operating systems. You may want to attach something to those operating systems, like you can have network share attached to your Linux or Mac through SMB. You essentially can add that to your backup plan and back up your network share over or backup agent with Linux and Mac. And actually, the same is applicable for Windows agent, so you can backup network shares. So moving on, and let's talk a little bit about recovery options. So having backup in the cloud is just a part of the thing, but what if we face the, some issues? What if we face the accident? And of course, we are very capable from the restart perspective. So we offer various options today, even if you have your backup kept in the cloud. And of course, depends on the backup type, depends on the data that you keep in the cloud. You may stick with one of the option that we have available from the restart perspective. So when we have, file level backup is simple. So you can just get a simple single file from your backup. That's it. End of story. But what if we have image backup? Let's say we have a Windows computer. Let's say we have laptop, and we backed up recently the laptop computer, the laptop data to the cloud. So we have actually a very wide list of capabilities from the image backup perspective. I mean, from the restart perspective of image backup. So again, just to remind you, image backup is the backup of your C drive, like the entire volume. And if you have a backup of the C drive in the cloud, you have the following capabilities. So first of all, you can just retrieve single file from there. So for example, you are missing something from your documents folder, and in fact you have only image backup of the C drive. So you can actually drill down right in the cloud and get single file directly from there and push it to your either original destination or to someone else. So you can actually define the destination for that single file. The other option, what if we have C drive backup and we have computer broken, like we have laptop with something broken, like the C drive actually corrupted, and we can't really start the operating system any longer. So we offer dissimilar hardware restore. In this case, you just get a USB stick. You actually prepare that USB stick yourself. You put it to a brand new laptop, and again, it starts to bring your backup right from the cloud. And in like 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you get your new computer. I mean, you get your actually new computer with the old data, with previous operating system installed on your corrupted computer, restored. And well, the speed of recovery depends on many factors. It can be your bandwidth to the cloud. It can be it can depend on the bandwidth. It can depend on the amount of the data that we need to restore from the C drive, on the complexity of data, encryption algorithm, compression, and many things. But roughly, from 10 up to 30 minutes, you can bring your data back, and this is what we call the similar hardware restore. When you get a completely new, brand new, even the other brand laptop, and you can restore that C drive to that new computer, and you're good to go. We recently, we actually released a new version of the product yesterday, and we offer even more capabilities from the restore. The other option from the image level backup restore will be to go to cloud. Just to give you an idea, Amazon, Google, Azure, and many other providers, they offer also compute services. It's not only about storages and free space that you can reuse for your data, but it's also compute in the cloud. So you actually get endpoint, and you use RDP client, like RDP utility for getting remote connections to Windows, or you can use VNC, or you can use SSH, and you can get access to that computer. So with CloudBerry, you can restore your image-based backup as one of that computer in the cloud. So for example, you have a laptop, or the laptop is not really a good example, but let's imagine that you run a server within your company, and that server is responsible for some kind of applications. Let's say it is mail server and a database at the same time, and you don't really want to decommission that server because you want to go cloud. So with CloudBerry, you can do image-based backup of that computer, and then you can restore that image-based backup as EC2 instance. So just to give you an idea, EC2 is compute resource in the Amazon cloud. So EC2 is the container, like a virtual machine, and it runs the operating system inside, and it can be operating system of your choice. But with CloudBerry, you can actually restore your server that you plan to decommission as that EC2 instance. It's actually a migration of your on-prem computer, your physical computer, to the cloud. So you can feel like you can actually before decommissioning, you can try to figure out how that service can run in the cloud. Is it compatible with EC2? Is it compatible with the operating system, with the same operating system but sits in the cloud in EC2 container? Or there is the same story about Azure. So they offer also compute resources, and you can restore that image-based backup in Microsoft Azure, or again, like Google Cloud. So we actually have all these offerings today, and you can try it out with our products. The other thing is that let's imagine that you want to do P2V, which is physical to virtual. Like you all heard about VMware and Hyper-V, right? It's a virtualization stack that offers you, like fully utilize your compute resources on the physical computer. So you can install a hypervisor on the computer, and on top of that computer, you can run multiple virtual machines. So image-based backup offers you a restore as virtual machine capability to VMware or to Hyper-V. I mean, as you can see, and this is not really all. So there are also some other options, like you can restore a template for reusing that template in Amazon or in Google or in Microsoft clouds. You can use that template for recreating your operating systems in the virtual machine containers and different other things. I mean, image-based backup for Microsoft Windows offers today a really wide range of capabilities, and you may consider how to apply those capabilities to your personal or to your business needs today. So let's move on, and yeah, so we actually approach in the section where again, like 60% of you, 40% of you mentioned that you really want to learn more about capabilities, how to start services for other companies, or how to offer backup services within IT department, for example. So, for example, we run a company with 50 people, and like I'm responsible for all IT around that company, and I want to start offer services like backup services for my employees, for my colleagues. So I want to back up their laptops. I want to back up their network shares, their data, and also I want to back up my servers. And I actually, like being in that position, I actually have a lot of challenges, a lot of requirements, having this implemented. So, for example, everybody wants to get access to single place. So everybody wants to get a single pane of glass, right? So you want to get a dashboard with a bird's eye view where you can see the status of all your computers, of all your backup plans, where you want to see different restore capabilities. You want to manage all these 50 computers from one place. So that's the first probably requirement that you may have. The other one is you may want to troubleshoot that as quick as possible. So, for example, one of that 50 employer, your colleague is saying that one of the file is corrupted, and you want to quickly jump into your system and restore that one. So normally, what you need to do, you need to get connected to that remote computer. Like reuse your, try to get access to your backup, get the right tool, use that right tool for restore that file, finally deliver that file to that computer. That may take some time, especially if there are more users and if there are more requirements, like requests coming into your help desk, and this is not really handy. So again, like single management interface, single pane of glass for dashboards, for monitoring, and single pane interface for full management, right? What if I want to assist my employer? What if I want to help my employee to set up the things right on the computer? Again, it can be a team viewer, it can be some kind of tool for screen sharing, but I really want to get everything in one place. I really want to get everything in that single dashboard. And again, so there are many other, smaller challenges, smaller requirements that we may raise when we approaching tasks like that. And that's why actually we have MBS. So MBS essentially offers you a centralized console. It's a SaaS, right? It's a solution in the cloud, like a software as a service. It sits in the cloud. We physically run it in Amazon environments, and all that you get is actually MBS endpoint. So it's actually a web portal where you get connected service provider, and you start to manage your user agents. Because again, like, remember, what is backup from Cloudberry is agent that you install into either Windows computer or Linux or Mac. Then you start to manage storage providers or storage technologies, and you need to link all together, because few users needs to go Amazon Azure, few users needs to go Azure storage, few users needs to go to Amazon S3. Some of those users needs to back up locally, and so on and so forth. So as many users you have, as many requirements you need to deal with. And again, so this is where we have MBS console introduced to all our customers. So let's take a look closer to all offerings today. So that's the endpoint that you get. It's actually managed backup service. If you jump into that managed backup service, and we sign into our providers portal, so we have that dashboard with all the statuses of the our backup operations, our backup plans, our backup storage status, license management, and remote management. So we can see all these, let's say, bird's eye view details, like what's going on exactly right now in my infrastructure. If I scroll up, I can go to the users. So each user actually is the configuration of certain agent. We have Windows computer, and within that Windows computer, we have CloudBerry Backup agent installed. And user actually activates that agent and links this agent to my profile, to my provider's profile. And I can see either user has certain license, how much space is used by that certain user, how many licenses that user has, and so on and so forth. I can manage all my builds. Again, so we have various builds available for different operation systems and technologies, like Windows builds, virtual machine edition for DNV or Hyper-V backup, Linux builds, Mac operating system builds, and so on and so forth. So we can just get access, we can download that build, or we can send the direct link to that particular build to our user, and that user can either install it manually, or we can install it using third-party tool, or even domain group policy, if you know what is it like. You can push the software through the domain group objects. You can set up the rule, and the agent is going to be delivered locally to a certain computer and installed in a certain mode, and then linked to the portal. I can see all these reports, and finally I can manage everything remotely. That's my favorite part, because I've been in the administrator role for several years, and I think that's quite important. So especially if I have lots of computers and I want to make sure all these computers are in normal state, they are linked to the storage, they are in good status, they can find the storage, they have all the plans backed up successfully, I can actually do all this management right in the console of the CloudBerry managed service. So if I go show plans, so that's my one of the sample Windows computer. I'm gonna drill down and take a look at the plans. So I have few plans configured and run recently. So fewer of those plans are image-based, fewer of those plans are file-level based, and various combinations of file-level based, and I can manage those plans right from here. So if we jump to the agent itself, so this is the remote connection. So it's actually RDP to one of my Windows computer. So that's actually Windows in the cloud. If we just close that one. So that's the instance that we run in the cloud. And I just get connected to that instance using remote connection. And we have single plan configured on that one. And if we take a look at the other one, so that's the other Windows computer with CloudBerry Backup agent installed on that computer. And we have even more plans, like 3 plans here, 2 image-based plans and 1 Exchange server plan. So we've backed them up successfully. So all my backups are in good shape. And again, if I jump back to my MBS portal, I can actually find out those computers and I can start management remotely. So if I scroll down, so that's my Fiji Exchange. Fiji Exchange is the instance with Exchange mail server. And let's say that we want to back up Exchange right now by executing that from the portal. And if we jump here, so we see that the plan has been executed successfully. It's actually finished already. Let's execute something else like image-based backup that should be longer. Yeah, so now it should run. And if we go here, so we're going to see that the status has been executed successfully. I mean, it's just an example of the idea how you can do that remote management. As you can see, all these triggers are linked to MBS portal for me, so I can manage that remotely. I can deal with all these options right from the interface. I can actually do different restore actions. Again, as I mentioned in my slides, there are either file level restore or image level restore. And if I select the image-based backup, I can do one of the following restore method. I can push that to Amazon, to Azure. There is also a Google Cloud as a technology for compute resources, and I can push my image-based backup to the Google Cloud. I can restore as physical disk, so this is more for restore to the similar hardware. Again, when we want to reuse that backup, we want to use that backup to restore that backup and use it with our new computer. If you want to see how that disk can perform with new technology with the similar hardware, I can do the restore as virtual disk again. So that's a wide list of technologies that we support from the image perspective, and you actually have all these capabilities available right away. Yeah, that's it really. From the Windows perspective, maybe a few words about application-aware backup, just in case if you run applications like SQL or Exchange. So we application-aware backup. We provide application-aware backup where you can where we can recognize that sort of application on your operating system, and we can actually provide, for example, for Exchange, we can do a restore on the item level. So let's jump to this computer. It's much better because we have Exchange installed right here. So if we open up the Exchange backup, so I'm actually browsing my backup storage right now, and if I expand the list of my backups and I can drill down into my Exchange backup, I can see that it has some restore points, and I can do that one. So for example, I'm missing some items. And again, so this all can be done remotely through the MBS console. So there is no need to go to a certain computer. You can do that remotely from the MBS interface. So right now, just to give you an idea what exactly we have from the item perspective for Exchange, I'm working in the agent, but you can actually do that from right on the computer, right on the MBS portal. So let's say that we want to get some items, some missing items from that user. So there are a few items like single messages that we have available here. So we can do restore. We just need to fill up those fields like Exchange server, use your email, password, and the folder where we want to get that restart item appear in my mailbox. That's it, really. So that's an example of item I'll restore for Exchange. So similar thing, not really similar, not that deep from the items perspective, but still application of a backup is available for Microsoft SQL. So try it out. So that's it, really. So if you need, if you have any questions, so there is Q&A box. Feel free to use that Q&A box, and I'll be happy to answer. If you want to try the product, there is a direct link to MBS portal. So it's actually the place where you can, get free sign up and get access to that portal, like web interface, where you can start to manage everything around your ecosystem from the backup perspective, including storage facilities, backup agents, users, licenses, and so on and so forth. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with us on sales@cloudberrylab.com.
Yeah, thank you, Eugene, for this presentation. I think it was very, very enlightening, especially if you are if you are an IT manager in charge of a whole department and you have, like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 computers or even more to manage, so that you can all comfortably go into the web dashboard and really see the status of all the computers and restore files on an individual basis if that's necessary. So I think that was like a good, at least for me, it was very revealing that it can be so easy. You don't have to change computers or walk from one computer to the next to really make sure that everything is running smoothly. So thank you very much for this presentation. So for now, I cannot see any questions in the questions box as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, Eugene, thank you very much for your presentation, and as always, I will upload this webinar as a replay to our YouTube channel. So I will send it out to all the participants so that you can review everything that Eugene said in this presentation at your own pace again. So check out the YouTube channel from Cloudwoods as well. And from my side, I also want to say goodbye and thank you very much for attending.
Yeah, thanks, Mauricio, for your attendee as well, for introduction and for co-hosting. Have a great week. Thank you very much, everyone.